So this new Realme phone recently arrived, the Realme 11 Pro Plus, and I was testing it out. It's leather design, the curved display, the 200 megapixel camera with OIS. But then I came across this Realme phone on a deal, and turns out this Realme phone absolutely kills the 11 Pro Plus. In fact, this is the absolute best smartphone under 25,000 rupees. Look, I'm talking about the Realme GT2, which launched last year at 34,999, but this has been available for rupees 24,999. Yes, a 10,000 rupees discount, and at this price, this is just better than any phone under 25,000 rupees. See, I say that because if you look at other phones under 25k, be it the Motorola Edge 30, Redmi Note 12 Pro, iQOO Neo 6, they all have some cons, and that's where the GT2 comes in. In fact, this is better than the brand new Realme 11 Pro, which has just launched at 24k, or the Realme 11 Pro Plus that has just launched at 28k. Look, the biggest advantage of the GT2 in this price range is the performance this brings. This comes with a more powerful Snapdragon 888 processor with fast LPDDR5 RAM and fast UFS 3.1 storage, and let me show you how good this is in terms of benchmarks. See, this is the Antutu score of the Snapdragon 888 on the GT2 versus the Dimensity 7050 on the Realme 11 Pro Plus, and you can see the difference in CPU and even the RAM speed, but just look at the monstrous difference in the GPU score. And not just Antutu, the Snapdragon 888 scores higher in Geekbench as well as in 3D Mark. It's a big difference. The Snapdragon 888 on the GT2 also does not have any of the throttling issues we've seen in the past in some 888 phones, so that's pretty good. Anyway, it's not just the benchmarks. The GT2 supports the higher graphics in games compared to other phones in this price range. For example, in COD Mobile in GT2, you can set the frame rates to high and still get very high graphics. In the 11 Pro Plus, you can set the frame rates to high, but the graphics get limited to low. And the GT2's gaming performance is more in line with higher end, more flagship grade phones, and at 25k, that's just awesome. I mean, this is asphalt on the GT2 and the 11 Pro Plus, and I'm not sure if it's visible on camera, but the graphics are better on the GT2 and the gameplay was just more smoother too. Now, you must be wondering, the GT2 is an older phone, so there must be some compromises, right? Turns out, no. So the GT2 launched with Android 12 and it has gotten the Android 13 update, and it came with the 3 OS updates promised like a higher end phone. So this means that this will go to Android 15 just like the newer Realme phones. And since we're talking about the software, the Realme UI is not the cleanest experience out there, but it's still somewhat better on the GT phone. I mean, the GT2 comes with 14 bloatware apps, while the 11 Pro Plus comes with 21, so that's pretty bad. However, I did notice that on the GT2, you don't get ads on the screen after you install an app, and glance is present, but it is not turned on by default, so at least that's good. Apart from this, the Realme GT2 has 11 5G bands, including all the Indian bands required, and this has NFC support, which the 11 Pro Plus lacks. Now, one area where the GT2 actually surprised me is the cameras. I mean, this comes with a 50 megapixel Sony IMX766 main camera with OIS, and it sounds fine, but when I tested it, I compared it to the 200 megapixel Samsung sensor on the 11 Pro Plus, and turns out this is better. I mean, Sony sensors are known to be better than Samsung sensors, and even though the 11 Pro Plus takes really good photos, the GT2 was better. For example, in this photo of our building, both the photos have similar details and dynamic range. It's just that the Pro Plus has a warmer tone. In this photo though, from the park, you can see the difference in colors. The GT2 photo is just richer and it's even better in terms of detail. Plus, the 11 Pro Plus photos a lot of times have the oil painting effect, which obviously no one likes. Now here's another photo where I like the colors more in the GT2 shot, and it's also more detailed, as you can see around the leaf here. Now I noticed these points in low light as well. Just look at the colors in this shot or the lights in this shot. Yeah, the GT2 photos are better. Even in terms of videos, the GT2 is way better. Here's a 4K 30 FPS video from both the phones, and just look at the difference. The GT2 video has slightly saturated colors, but it has way better stabilization and way faster focusing. It's a huge difference really. I mean, higher megapixels never really excited me, and you can see why. It's the optimization that matters, the ISP, and that's where the GT2 is just better. Anyway, apart from the performance and the cameras, the Realme GT2 is solid all around. It has a matte glass back and a plastic frame. And yeah, this does not look as striking as say the new Realme 11 Pro Plus, but there are most of the features. The in-display fingerprint scanner is really fast. In fact, it is faster than the one on the 11 Pro Plus. Here are both the phones side by side, and you can notice the slight delay in the 11 Pro Plus. Now, this does not have a micro SD slot or a headphone jack, but you do get stereo speakers and they are pretty good. The display is also very good for 25k. It's a 120Hz AMOLED, so it's smooth and nice, and you get the nice AMOLED colors and blacks, and this is fairly bright. Now, it obviously isn't as nice looking as the curved AMOLED on the 11 Pro Plus, and its bezels are slightly thicker, but for everything else the GT2 brings, I'm okay with it. Anyway, the battery life of the 5000 mAh battery is also good, and the 65 watt charger is also fairly fast, charging the phone to 100% in around 45 minutes. Look, all said and done, Realme is clearly the only brand in the world that generates hype for its phones after a year they are launched. But jokes apart, the Realme GT2 is just a killer phone at 24,999. I mean, it definitely kills the Realme 11 Pro phones on arrival, and it's not just them. There's no other phone under 25k that can match its performance, and the cameras are very good. Now, it's not perfect. Realme UI has a lot of bloatware, but that apart, there's no doubt in my head that this is the absolute best phone under 25,000 rupees. Now, do note that Realme has removed the Realme GT2 from its website, so this deal on Flipkart might not be available for too long. So take advantage while you can and make sure to share this video.